A warm welcome to you. It's Enterprise Friday here on Enterprise Television. I am Choma Okoye.
And I am Henry Igwebike.
And before we head fully into the newspaper segment for this morning, we invite you to have a say in what we say. Do well to visit our website on www.enterprisetvnews.com. Visit us on all our social media platforms at Enterprise TV7. Now we'll have a guest in the house with us to actually analyze some of the stories we would be looking into on the front pages of the national newspaper. And the guest we have with us in the house is no other but Cyril Abako, who is a public affairs commentator and analyst. Good morning, Cyril.
Good morning.
Good morning, Cyril.
You're welcome.
Okay, and heading into the first daily we have on our decks this morning. Harry, what's that?
Yeah, I think it's I think you have an excerpt on that.
Yeah.
On the grid collapse.
Yeah, the grid collapse. Okay, just to give a little rundown on the grid collapse, which was happening for the, I think, how many times yesterday for the fourth time this morning?
I think it's the second time in 2 days.
In 2 days, okay. Nigeria has once again been thrown into darkness due to system outage. A grid collapse, which is the breakdown of transmission lines due to over or under frequency, is allegedly responsible for this outage. An electricity distribution company announced a system outage around 11:29 a.m. on Thursday, and the latest development is barely 72 hours after Nigerian cities were thrown into darkness as the grid collapsed on Tuesday. Now, Cyril Abako, today is Friday, and in 2 days we've had a grid collapse, and it is now becoming a norm, and Nigerians are beginning to make meme out of it, and it is unfortunate that the TCN chairman have not said anything or announced or come out to actually say anything to Nigerians at this point. Who should be held responsible?
Well, you have said it's unfortunate. That's as far as your own opinion goes. I'm not sure if everybody says things that's unfortunate. Somebody said we've entered the plug and play dispensation. They go, they unplug it. Money comes in, they plug it back in. It sounds conspiratorial to me. It sounds like conspiracy theory, but it was even here the person said it on this platform. He said he knows very much what is going on behind the scenes. That this is just a matter of job for the boys. It is criminal. It is, frankly speaking, criminal for a nation to be subjected to this kind of buffoonery. And it doesn't look as if leadership is really seeing this as an emergency. When we had, let me make it detail, when the NLC called for a strike, and government didn't want to pay attention, they wanted to see if the strike would bite. Then the NLC, you know, Joe Ajero is a member of the NUE, so his own flank of the Labour family is power. So they successfully shut down the national grid. Government called them and quickly begged them. Then they restored power nationwide. The federal government said to shut down the power grid is treason, is treason. And it sounded to us that these people are thinking, are only being clever by half. Now, if workers said that the national grid was treason, why is this not treason? Even if you won't try a human being for it, why is it not treason? Why is the negligence leading to the collapse not also called treason?
Okay, don't you think the issue of premeditation is a factor here? Because that of the NLC was premeditated and was done consciously. This is just an accident. So don't you think both are two different reasons?
No, that's what I'm saying. That
the collapse.
Yes, but you see, on the back of what you may want to call a natural disaster or natural occurrence, there is someone with responsibility of preventing that from happening. Has the person done everything they can to make it, to keep it from happening? For example, you have the Minister of Power, you have federal government, you have the GENCOs, you have everybody. When we look at the power ecosystem, who has the responsibility of maintaining, guarding, protecting the total national grid? And why is maintenance not enough to keep it from collapsing? Have you investigated? Have you checked? Because everything they've been saying has been until we now they told us that this is going to continue. They made it the minister has spoken very eloquently. If you didn't hear him, then I don't know what else you're going to hear. They've said it will continue until we build a new national grid or we decentralize the grid system, which we should have done from long ago.
And which is equally not the fault of this current government.
Well, they have to take responsibility for it because, you know what, if we do an audit of how they've run the power sector from May 29 last year till now, I can assure you that those things people are saying, that's not like conspiracy theory. You find elements of truth in them. Because the fact is this: when they told us 3 weeks ago that it was bandits who were destroying transmission cables in the north and so that, and were deploying soldiers, I thought to go and chase them out and flush them out and prevent the plot from happening. Then the minister said, in fact, that they will make sure that people who are in blackout in the north wouldn't have to pay for their power, wouldn't have to pay for the time they didn't have electricity. You know, that's not a normal thing in Nigeria. Normally, even in a time when you don't have life for 3 months, they'll bring a bill for you.
Sure.
Now, government is undertaking for northerners because of their votes, obviously. One. Then number two, and that there's a lot of sunlight and wind in the north that they are going to tap into. Excuse me. When did we begin to have this haphazard? Why is there no template? Why is there no master plan power? There's so much sunshine in those days, so much that the people use sunlight as their state emblem. So why is the government, even if it is to say governors at the level should do this because the power has been given to them, what has the president done, either at the level of NEC, where the vice president holds sway, or as moral barometer for the country, say governors come, let's have a meeting. NGF, how soon can you guys begin to, that kind of thing, work on generating power and distributing, because now you have the power. Or even if they wouldn't, it's like you have universities now for state can own, federal government can own, private can also own. I think not opening more federal universities.
Yeah.
There are somebody even proposing voluntary investment of Nigerian languages. Why isn't the federal government looking to invest in grades so that consumers can either patronize their own or any other one?
But I think it's very important we understand, the financial requirements for this. These are hugely capital intensive businesses in billions.
If the federal government is taking money, loan from World Bank to buy sanitary pads for girls, just imagine travesty. Is it not better to invest it in credit?
Really?
Compare.
This is very minute, if you ask.
No, it's not minute.
What is minute?
I mean, buying, isn't it? As in compared to
So this is the problem. Look, we must set our priorities right. Secondly, you can't. These arguments won't go away. You cannot be preparing to buy a private jet for the vice president. Sponsor thousands of delegates to go to COP24 in Dubai. It just tells where our priorities really revolve.
All right, but
so if I'm willing to do what is right, I'm sorry that I can't hold brief for anybody.
All right, but speak to us still on that particular issue. A couple of days back, we read that the failure of the discourse not taking off-take from the generating companies is some of the reasons why we have this secret collapse. So is that equally a postulation?
This thing, it is simple, and every great feat does not begin by taking the first step. Begin by believing that you want to do it. The believing part, the mental part is important. And for me, the question has been, how exactly intentional is government in addressing a challenge as humongous as power? The Chinese became China in 1949. China was always there anyway, but the war between the nationalists and the communists, Chiang Kai-shek and what's his name? The great Mao Zedong, Chairman Mao. They eventually, after all the subterfuge and everything, Mao won the war, and on October 1949, China became what it is today. They told themselves that they needed power to power development. In fact, it is so deep that all the Chinese leaders have been engineers, from the current one, Xi Jinping, to Hu Jintao, to Deng Xiaoping, all of them they've all been engineers. They're very heavy on construction. They're all engineers. It is part of the philosophy of state. It is deliberate. The thing is not happening by accident. It's deliberate. Now, that aside, let me say this. Nigeria is touted to be Africa's giant, touted to be the economic hub of Africa, touted to be a lot of things. This is our national grid, that we are tying everybody to one small cup of tea. It means if anybody poisons that cup, everybody will be infected. Is it not a danger between workers shutting the grid down and the government negligence probably bringing in a foreign power, a hostile enemy, to come and shut it down? Which is worse? Because to sell the national grid, you're only opening up your country to more danger.
Yeah.
Any foreign power can just come in, compromise it, breach it. Why can't they do it? When people can bring, the other than they brought a veteran super tanker as big as 3 villages. Then humongous machine, the thing came to Nigeria, pack oil, pack oil, and left. It was on the high seas that it was Equatorial Guinea Cote d'Ivoire intelligence spotted it. That tanker stayed for no less than 3 months, packing fuel that could fill his belly. Nobody saw it. Nobody saw it. Nobody saw it. They didn't know that such a tanker came to Nigeria. The vice intelligence didn't pick it. Military intelligence, army intelligence, naval intelligence, air force intelligence didn't pick it. Police intelligence didn't. The DSS didn't pick it. NSCDC didn't pick it. What are their names? All the intelligence agencies, even our friendly people that would normally say, okay, in ECOWAS, what you see, you tell us. What we see, we tell you. No, but until it became a global scandal. By the way, all the ships that travel on the world's waters have codes and numbers that attract compost, to avoid seafarers and so. So we are wondering who is fooling who. If they can come and steal crude that way, that the tanker can come and berth, and for 3 months it was filling his belly on. It took it 3 months to fill his belly, to fill his stomach. What billions of dollars? Nobody saw it. It is the one that somebody will just walk in and switch off your national grid and you see. The earlier we agree about where things are in this country, the better.
Very true.
Thank you so much.
All right, so let's move on to the Guardian newspaper for today. And just below that story, we have a military confirms a new terrorist group in northwest Nigeria on page 25. Okay,
moving on, still on the bottom strip. Tinubu applauds media for 25 years of democracy, nation building.
And also we have, I am open to probe after handing over, says Obaseki.
Okay, moving on, LASA's research on rape reveals alarming rate of child sexual abuse. All those details are on page 27.
And also we have lack of accountability, stifling physical processes, and that's coming from FRC as it wants.
Okay, moving on, let's look at the big story on the Guardian newspaper, and it's on e-learning. Nigerians in diaspora create new demand, income for teachers. Big story 4 and 5. Cyril Abako, you are...
we have a cartoon flake here. Yeah. It says a teacher's reward now online. And we have a lady who over her laptop, it's I guess coaching people on different subjects. We have physics, English language, mathematics, music, economics, French, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, Cyril, you are a lover of education. Looking at this teacher's reward now online, how do you see this development? Because I am not against the government, but we are known that most times when the government see a thriving enterprise, they bring up policies.
What I know about this one?
Yes.
If I sit in my room and set up a virtual
classroom,
e-learning platform,
anybody who wants to subscribe, you pay me and you join. If you're not interested, be on your way. So that sort of thing. It's good. It's good because I know of a teacher who teaches students who are in the UK. I believe some of them were even in the US, Canada, and they are paid in the hard currencies of the year. So it's another income opportunity for teachers. We celebrate them. But then again, the point we made is that teachers now also should endeavor to rise up to the plate, to step up to the plate, which is to say, the time for, I went to school when we were using chalks. If you wrote on the slate, you kept it by yourself so that you didn't get cleaned up. So, but my son uses art younger than I was when I was using chalk and slate to write. He basically draws. So, he uses pencil and sketch and so on. So, the times have changed. In our time, you knew from before you could use pencil. But now it's not the case. So, teachers must evolve. In fact, you must become a digitally very well inclined teacher today to be able to be relevant in the scheme of things. Even during COVID, we saw some schools during lockdown that began to teach online. My son they had it. What was it that they had to shut schools down, learning how to be taken online before they could go back to school. And these are children. So every teacher owes it to himself, to his or herself, to be equipped with the modern digital ecosystem, to be equipped and how to thrive in that space, because that's like the next big thing that's going to happen. We have schools overseas that have experimented with transitioning totally fully online. So how do you want to deal with that? But of course, again, government should be worried of taking this online thing hook, line, and sinker. Okay, sometimes people who are in the comfort of their homes may not pay full attention to it's basic money. We've not advanced to that level. People are taking, when Nigerians are taught to take personal responsibility for their greatness. You struggle, even in workplace, sometimes you struggle with it. So if this is not a replacement strategy, it's just a complementary way of learning. So I think it's good. I sorry to just, I saw that story you talking about a terror group in the northwest. Is it Sokoto or somewhere? And then the other one about Tinubu thanking editors for the editors conference is taking place in Yanagua, right? The Nigerian Guild of Editors. Last time was in Yo. Now it's in Yanagua. And the point again is very poignant, which is to say that yes, any society without media will be in darkness. It's the obvious truth. But then the question is it media because they are practicing, or media because they are saying the truth? There's a lot of media today, but there's less of truth in our country. So that has to be also put on the table. We commend the journalists who have, in some cases, who paid the ultimate price in making sure that Nigerian democracy, first of all, for even bringing democracy, for reviving democracy, and then also for keeping the lamp burning. But the fact is, we can't something has happened to our trajectory. We cannot continue this path. If we did, we could be heading for a serious disaster. Yeah,
but the truth remains, and why would we even be talking about this? I do not know this current state of the guy that was arrested, Pidon. Yes, I do not know the current state, if it's been released or not. But why do you think the Guild of Editors, just like you rightly said, aren't pointing out to things that the government should do in this respect?
Well, the conference is on. I haven't read the full brief of everything they've said from both sides. But I do know that even for a lot of senior editors, it is when you meet them one-on-one, you tell you, do you know what that man said? Do you know what that president advisor said? I don't know if you're following. They cannot put everything that happens in those places out.
Okay.
Or they wouldn't. Not that they cannot, they wouldn't put everything out for reasons best known to them. But it is outside the meeting, he actually told us, we actually found out. So there's a lot going on that is worse than what is being reported. That's the problem, right? Then on their own to investigate and report the truth. I think that culture today, that has been left to just a handful of media houses now, maybe one or two, maybe even just one. Okay, but let me come over to the matter of the big dom. Is a broader conversation about freedom of speech.
Okay,
maybe not necessarily about journalism.
But isn't it tied to? Isn't it?
No, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. So it means we now have to broaden the discussion into freedom of speech, which is a larger issue than just journalism. They are tied together, but you can sometimes have a fine line between them. The NUJ, the NGE, and affiliate bodies cannot stand aside. Because if it happens to the nurses, the auxiliary nurses, the lab technicians, the doctors shouldn't think that it will not happen to him. It will surely come.
Yeah.
Yes, so if you say health sector, the medical people shouldn't walk away. They should sit down and help their colleagues, whether they are junior colleagues or not, is another issue. But because if you, like I said, if you don't deal with it, it will come to your doorstep. So the editors owe it to themselves and to the larger society to protect freedom of speech, protect the spaces in which journalists work, and make sure that the democracy that we purportedly won so hard isn't lost so easily. Because that's a very great possibility. In fact, if you're not careful, we are on our way. Because if freedom can be picked up until now, it doesn't look like anybody.
Nobody's talking about it. It's not being.
And government officials will come to your conferences and be clinking glasses with you. In the past, Let me say the reason I say the was because in the past, Anna, the Nigerian writers body used to be also at the forefront of human rights causes. Even the NBA,
yes,
even lawyers, the former chairman of the NBA or president, Alaru Akabasho, gave the military a run for their money. In fact, there's a popular story of when Babangida said history will be fair to him, and Basho said that is that will be fair to you, and better be not to write it. You know, that sort of thing. But today, everybody's not being with everybody. I find it, frankly speaking, repulsive to the decorum and sanity that should characterize public conversations and the social space in our country. Then the other one about the the new military group. Please. When I read the story, I felt particularly. You see, you cannot be informing Nigeria about the emergence of a military group, and you are sounding sympathetic. You see, all my life, from university, that I've always been interested in how information is used to achieve certain purposes in government. You are blaming the military coup. Are you aware that these people are offering you 1 million naira to join the Lakurawa?
Whoa.
1 million, they are paying 1 million naira. And that they are occupying a forest that spans about 5 local government areas. Am I correct? So they're in a forest enclave, which means they are still in an area you can go and bomb them. You can at least. It means that for now they are still in an area.
So if they map them, it's possible.
If the intelligence is well utilized.
Why didn't anybody say anything about that in the statement? They said they are still gathering information and reconnaissance. Are you gaining time by doing that? Are you gaining time by doing that? Number 2.
What's the future implication for this for security?
They've created the successor to Boko Haram and ISWAP. They've created something that will be way bigger than anything you ever had in the past.
Okay, now
we'll talking about this in the main conversation. Actually.
Yes. Okay. Now, talking about this in the main conversation. But before we head to that, now, if we look at on the scale of preference, Nigerian Army are not well treated and well handled and well paid. And talking about the 1 million they are paying to those to join this, how sure are we now that our military intelligence will not be infiltrated with time?
Now, this is what sources in the Northwest are saying. 1 million naira, it could mean one of two things. That they are well funded, well oiled. The question is by who? You need a state actor to do this. Right?
And they should have a goal where they're heading to.
These people are a religious group that are bent on imposing their own way of religion or worship. So this is another El Zaki group, it's another Boko Haram, it's another ISWAP. It's a jihad. Henry, I don't know if you're also aware that this same Lakurawa people, right, that when they crossed from Niger into Nigeria, that the locals welcomed
them. Of course, thinking they were there for something else.
They didn't come in unarmed. You need to understand this thing. They didn't come in unarmed. Yet the locals did what? Welcome them. So there is a mindset already that is a very worse. People come into your village armed. They are fighters. And yet you thought that you came as good people to come and deliver your Then Nigeria, then President Tinubu and Co that wanted to go and invade Niger because there was a coup that wanted to pile military pressure on Niger. Let me ask, didn't you do a proper risk assessment? Niger, you didn't attack. Border, you shot. Yes, people came in. I think when you're looking for whom to blame, you should be looking at the mirror. This boogie should not be bought by anybody.
Well,
they know more than they're telling us.
True.
That is the obvious truth.
Okay, thank you, sir. We need to look at our time and just keep it going. And now the next daily on our
the last one.
Yeah, the last one actually is the Daily Trust newspaper, and the big story here. No, let me start from the top strip. National Grid collapsed twice in 2 days.
And also we have media owners, editors urge Tinubu to save the industry.
Okay, moving on the bottom strip, you have, I'm being pushed to betray Kwankwanso, says Kano governor.
And also we have federal government to provide free cesarean sections for vulnerable women.
Okay, we don't deal in adulterated fuel. That is coming from the NNPCL.
And also, lastly, Nigerians are down to CNG vehicles safety after Malaysia's ban.
But let's look at the story. I'm being pushed to betray Kwankwanso, says Kano, governor. Cyril, what is your reaction?
He's his son-in-law. He's married to, there's a name they call him, something Gida. His wife is Kwankwanso's daughter. He is his son, more or less. He's actually his son. Like Kwankwanso and Ganuji, he's somebody he picked up and said, come, and he's apparently he's made him governor. I personally don't see Abba Yusuf particularly betraying Kwankwaso. Except that in politics, you never rule anything out. So the days to come will show where exactly things are headed. But he needs to be careful with his godfather. He is a man who is worth his onions. Even after 8 years of Ganuji, Kwankwaso came back and reclaimed Kano. That's not a man you want to push. No, you can't put Kwankwaso over. You cannot. You see, no matter how anybody from Kano, from the northwest, can be close to Tinubu, Kwankwaso is personally very close to Tinubu. So he's not a man you want to put. Kwankwaso is, I mean, what else does he want to become? He's been former minister of defense in the first place, former minister, former governor, former senator too, right? Former this, former that. The only thing he has not been the president and vice president, and he is a mobilizer. The Kwankwaso's claim actually is that he is the successor to Aminu Kano. So the Kanawa, that the people of Kano, they naturally rally around him. There is a lot that you think you know about politics in Kano that you don't know if Kwankwaso is not on your side. So Abba Yusuf should be very, very worried of breaking ranks with the man.
All right. Well, we'll talk about all that and other matters. Very interesting stories here. But we just have to, have a wrap for this particular segment.
Yeah,
Thank you so very much, Cyril Abaku.
Thank you so much, Cyril, for your time.
Choma, thank you.
Thank you, Harry.
All right. When we return, new terror group known as Lakurawa emerges in Nigeria's northwest. We'll speak to that in a bit. Please don't go anywhere.
Yeah.